is that like, you know, this idea that like, oh, the day you run well, you grit your teeth. That isn't how it is. We have these like, oh, you know, I dug in. The day you run a PB, the day you run your best, it feels so easy. You're just relaxed. You get even for the long races, you get halfway and you cannot believe you're through halfway in that time. And I'm not saying you don't have to dig in, you do, but it's not this thing of like, I gritted my teeth from the first minute. It's like, it's not that. It's not that. And that gets, and what you said, Sean, is so knowledgeable. And I just want to highlight it again. It's like, what happened in like with a marathon, it's like at 35K, maybe you weren't fit enough. How too many people do not look at the physical fitness as the reason. And instead they go, oh my God, I just gave up at 35K. You give up at 35K because you were busting yourself to get to that point. You know, like, and that's what people, it is looking at the training. And then if you're on the right lines, even though you don't hit it, it's like having the confidence that like, look, with consistency, with doing these things, it will come. And that's the way it was. Because my wife was always like, she's not into running. And, but she's always supportive. So after races, you know, I'd be like, especially in the 1500, because you're going, you know, we're doing like you're doing like 225 a K, but you're trying to stay as relaxed as you can, you know. So sometimes it's like you go out and you're just, something happens and you're just like, even though it's early in the race, you're like, I need to get relaxed here and not feel like I'm sprinting. And I was saying to my wife, and she'd be like, yeah, but would you not then like just like dig in at the end, you know, kind of not really knowing? And I'm like, Jer, at top level running, a 1500 or a mile, it's more like playing the piano than it is this gritting. It's like a pianist doesn't say, I just need to hit the keys harder. It's like, you got to get into a flow. You got to get relaxed in a race. And I'd say that's something that people need to think. Sometimes we're like, it's all this David Goggins, no offense to the dude, but it's this thing that's actually not true. This, you dig in deep. A lot of times it's like, you need to relax. You need to let this run come to you. Take the first half easier, build through it and get confidence and feel like, oh my God, I feel good. And then naturally you push on. Sorry, I absolutely waffle. I have one more thing.
No, you're good. Yeah, work away.
All right. I did tell the guys beforehand, it's like, just cut me off if I get bored. And they underestimated it. I think they're like, no, he won't. He'll take a breath. I won't. Last thing, right, was for that mental strength thing. I think it's just a load of bollocks, basically. Like, I had a year where I was running crap, and my coach was like, look, you're fit. It's like, it's just in your head, you're mentally, you know. And I was doing everything. I was going to sports psychologists. I was going to, you know, writing like the times I wanted to run on my shoes for positive affirmation, in like looking at the mirror and like, you can do this, you are strong, all these stupid things, and just blowing up in races. And then the next year I was going, a new coach, I was going to a race, and on the way down, I was doing my master's in physio, and like the coach then was like, why haven't you ran a PB in 4 years? And I like that was the positive talk we were having. And I was like, dude, I do not know. It's like, just go out in the beer a lot or you're injured. It's like, no, just I don't know why. And like, so, but in the race, no confidence beforehand, but in the race, just running. And then like, with like maybe 2-3, like 400 left, I was like, God, I'm feeling all right, and move up a little bit. Then I'm like at 200, I'm like, you still feel good, you push. So a lot of times people think at the start of the race, oh, I gotta push, especially in the longer races. You got to be relaxed. You got to go through, say if it's a 5K, that first K feeling good, and then like holding your pace and then picking up, because your body will naturally, like, it will naturally do what it'll do. If you have it in you, you will just keep going past people and keep picking it up, and it'll actually feel better, rather than having to think in your head that this is a grind. And that was a good example, because I had no confidence. So if it was actually like mentally you need to be strong, I would have just like left. But it's like subconscious just takes over. It's very primal running.
That's a good thing, I suppose, about the mental side. Okay, some are using sports psychologists when you're in kind of team sports, pressure situation, the final penalty kick, a lot of that can come down to mental or bottle or whatever it comes.